Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior. So, for this video, I want to give some, real advice for you guys, or not really give advice, but just state the obvious that I feel like a lot of people seem to not understand, and that for some reason there's pretty much no videos or posts really on this topic. So, if you're anything like me and pretty much every other person that was obsessed with Japan, which despite the stuff that you see me complain about, I love this country and I was obsessed with Japan, that's why I'm still here. However, something that people try to do is avoid doing the necessary things in order to live, work, study here, etc. And I've pretty much touched on every topic except for those of you that plan to work in Japan. So, I actually have made some blog posts and some videos, and I've also talked about what I'm going to say in this video in those posts and videos. But I wanted one video that specifically answers kind of everything. So yeah, let me just go ahead. Please excuse my voice. I've had my AC on. It's a little bit hoarse, but without any further ado, I'm just gonna flat out say it. You have to have a bachelor's degree. It does not matter how well you speak Japanese, how good your English is, where you went to school, what race you are, what color your skin is. None of that stuff matters, you guys. You can try to go around it however much you want to, and you will not succeed. Anyone who tells you otherwise is a liar. They are either living here on a spouse visa and lying to you, or they are working here illegally. Do not believe it. Is it possible to get a job in Japan without having a bachelor's degree? Yes, but the people that are working here 99.9% of the time without a degree, which is actually quite a lot of people, they're here on sham marriages. Now I know people want to say, oh, my marriage isn't sham just because I'm married to a Japanese person. As I've already touched on before, I find it very interesting that people move to Japan and 1 week later they found the love of their life. You'll find that most of the foreigners here met and married their spouse within less than 2 years, and generally they've only known each other for anywhere from 30 days to 6 months before tying the knot, and it was a marriage of convenience. You can argue with me if you want to, I don't care, that's between you and God, but all I gotta say is, we all know what you're doing. It's common knowledge here in Japan. That is the most easy way to come here. It doesn't cost anything, it's not morally right, and I'm not recommending it by any means. But I'm being honest with you guys because nobody wants to talk about that. That's the honest to God truth, how most people are here that are not in the US military. Beyond that, the other thing that this does is it makes it easy for those that aren't native speakers, because now you have the golden gaijin card, the perfect visa, where you can get any field of work. They can do jobs that I can't even do without any limitations, and it's pretty much just based on you staying married. And even if you get divorced, there's ways of going around that to apply for permanent residency, and the list just goes on. So yeah, there's no way of going around that. It does not matter how skilled you are in whatever. It does not matter if you're an electrician. It doesn't matter if you're into technology, whatever you do. If for whatever reason you chose not to go to college, you couldn't afford it, you thought you weren't smart enough for it, whatever your reason is, well, now you're paying the price because your degree does matter. There's all this new age stuff telling you, oh, degrees don't matter. You need a degree, don't go into debt. That's debatable. I'm not going to go there with you guys, and I really wouldn't say it's worth having a degree specifically for Japan because the pay here is garbage. But within the country, you'll be making what's considered as good money by Japanese standards. For example, the average person in Japan makes roughly 30,000 US dollars, if not a little bit less. That's the average salary. The average salary in the US is almost $60,000. It's almost double what the average Japanese person makes. My salary is seen as high. I make quite a lot of money here in Japan, even if I were to only work my one main job and got rid of all of my little side gigs and whatnot. And I'm not even talking about my future business endeavors and things like that. I'm just talking about, the work that I'm currently doing. When I tell people how much I make, and I always just mention my one job, they're like, why is your salary so high? And it's like, oh, thanks. So anyway, yeah. 30,000 is actually kind of a lot of money, and if you make above that, you're really making a lot of money in Japan. No, you're not rich, but you're doing a lot better than a lot of native Japanese people are. One of the other big mistakes, I'm sorry to get off subject, but I have to mention it while we're talking about it, is that people keep trying to compare their home country to Japan. We're not dealing with US dollars or euros. This is Japanese money and Japanese lifestyle. So if you're trying to compare your life with your carpet, your 3 dogs and 2 cats, and having, this big fancy car and a huge front yard, etc., you're never going to be able to afford that in Japan unless you become like a million or billionaire or whatever. Even million and billionaires don't even have that kind of stuff here. You need to think in a Japanese mindset. That's not normal here in Japan. Making $60,000, $70,000 a year is not normal in Japan. Can you do it? Yes, you most certainly can. Is it the average? Is it normal? Is it expected? No. You'll be living a very lavish lifestyle with that type of money. Are you going to be poor working a regular teaching job? No, you will not. But again, it all depends on what you want. A lot of foreigners come here and they want to live like they're in America. You want to have carpet, you want to have a pet-friendly apartment, you want to be on the 10th floor, you want to have, garage, parking lots. Like, are you coming to Japan, or are you trying to bring, make your own America somewhere else? Like, what the hell is going on here? And so I get why you want these things. I used to, but I had to wake up, smell the coffee, realize, hey, I'm in Japan, I'm not in America anymore. A lot of the things that I'm used to are no longer normal here. So that's a really big thing you have to keep in mind. So off of the whole topic of how much things should cost, etc., you have to understand that a degree is a need. It's not just something that, looks nice to the school. It's required by the government. You cannot get a work visa here without having a 4-year minimum bachelor's degree. It can be in any field. It does not have to be in English or education, but it's highly recommended that it is, because obviously when they're trying to narrow down applicants, we're going to choose the teacher that has a degree in education versus somebody that has some random degree in, I don't know, whatever type field or subject. So do keep that in mind if you are a student. If you are someone that's stuck in your ways and you're like, oh, I'm going to find a way to come to Japan, and you're, fooling yourself and you really think that sitting there watching anime and studying Japanese is going to get you a visa here, the joke is on you. You're fooling yourself. It's not going to work out for you. There is a point-based system here that you can use where if you have, expertise, basically, you've been doing something. I don't know all of the specifics to it, you guys, but basically for 10 plus years. It's extremely hard to get this visa for a few different reasons. The biggest one being is you still need a visa sponsor. Who the hell, let me just be real with you guys. Who the fuck is going to do this for you? Think about it. Why the hell? I would not do this. When I get ready to start hiring my own teachers, I am not going to be hiring somebody that doesn't have a 4-year degree. Why? Not only because of the, fact that it's a requirement for you to have a degree, pretty much. There is a loophole and a way to get around that, like I said, with the point system, which if you weren't lazy, you can look this up on, Japanese immigration, look at their website. All the information is for you there. Stop being lazy and expecting me to do all the work for you. That's a big reason why you don't have a degree, a big reason why you're not here right now. I sound like a bitch. Truth hurts. Too bad. Just being real. But anyway, I'm not about to go through all that crap and do all the calculating and putting all this crap together for you and then spend all that damn money just for you to quit anyway. Absolutely not. It's much easier to hire somebody who's a professional with a degree, already has their shit together, versus me having to trust somebody that claims to have had 10 plus years of experience doing whatever, trying to calculate your points, and it's too much mess. And those applications almost always get rejected. It's very rare that they go through. There are stories of people that have gone through with them, and to be honest, I find a lot of them to be bullshit. You'll find that most people here that claim, oh, I'm working in Japan, I don't have a degree, or no, I'm not married. Like, yeah, they got married. They had a sham marriage and they divorced. That's what happened. So they're technically not living on a spouse visa anymore, but that's how they got their foot in the door. Again, this video is not to promote sham marriages or to encourage that, but I'm just being honest with you guys, and I'm really trying to tell you to stop believing everything that a foreigner tells you. Stop, myself included, don't take my word, do it yourself. But stop believing all these crazy stories of people that claim that they're living in Japan without doing this, or they didn't go to school, they didn't do whatever. How many people do you know of that are really doing that? That you actually know of? If it were really that easy, there'd be a lot more channels on that, and there'd be a lot more people living in Japan, and the visa process would be a lot stricter than it already is. because they would have to narrow it down. Everybody wants to go to Japan these days, thanks to anime, pornography, and the rise of yellow fever, not just with women, but nowadays thanks to K-pop and porn and anime, now even girls are starting to begin, in my opinion, are starting to become more interested in Asian men. So yeah, a lot, and with the Olympics coming up, a lot more people are interested in coming to Asia in general, and in particular Japan, and even Korea, I would say. So, my point is, get real with yourself. Nobody's gonna hire you without a degree. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Beyond just getting your foot in the door, you might think, oh, spouse visa, problem solved. I literally have whole videos and blog posts on this already, but most employers still will not hire you. They don't care that you have a visa. They want someone who is actually a professional, who's qualified and experienced, and it's assumed that because you have a degree in education that you are a professional and that you know what you're doing, because you kind of do at least a little bit, we would hope. So with that said, they are still going to not interview or hire you. You're still going to have more difficulty. You will always play second or third fiddle to a native speaker, and especially a native speaker with a degree, especially if they're younger than you. I know that this video is not what you wanted to hear, but it's the truth. Everyone keeps trying to find ways to go around getting a degree. Everyone wants to find a secret way, like, oh, well, you know, I'm really good with technology, or I'm an electrician, or I, you know, went to trade school for this, or whatever. Japan does not fucking need you. Why the hell would they want to hire you, a clumsy foreigner who doesn't speak Japanese at a native level? And even if you did speak at a native level, you are not Japanese. Thus, you do not have Japanese culture down pat. Thus, you do not have Keigo down pat. And plus, there's just cultural differences that they don't fucking care to teach you. And it's a stereotype that foreigners can't really learn Japanese. So even if you speak Japanese well, they'll always think in their mind, oh, this clumsy foreigner could never, you know, fit into our company. They can't do this, they can't do that. The foreigners that you hear of, meet, or whatever, that are working in Japanese companies, they're working for companies that are using them for their gaijin-ness, to either give the appearance of an international company, or they're being used for their English language skills. These people are generally getting paid garbage in comparison to teachers, if not the same amount. And on top of that, once again, you're still using English, so you're not escaping from that. And once again, these people are either here on spouse visas, or they started off as teachers. It's always the case. And the reality is, the amount of time, effort, money, and energy that it's going to take for you to get that high of a level of Japanese, especially before you step foot in Japan, it ain't worth it. Look at all the time and money you're gonna spend to learn the language, and you still need a degree on top of that. Just to get paid $25,000, $28,000 a year? Is it really worth it? And you don't even really know if you want to live here. You like the idea of Japan because you like porn and you like anime, and you like music and you like fashion, but you haven't actually lived here. I've told you guys stories several times. I'm barely staying here myself. I literally just had a meltdown the other day where I wanted to go home because I was dealing with perverts and whatnot, and it was making me super upset here. But you want to know what? I decided to stay. I've literally watched all of my real friends go home. Either they were here on student visas, or they were here supposed to be long term, but they got homesick, they got tired of Japan, they got tired of its bullshit, and these people actually spoke Japanese at a native level and very fluently, much more so than myself. I'm just now getting up to the level that they were when I first came here. I've literally watched everyone leave. And you might say, oh, that's not gonna be me. You don't know that, that's the thing. So don't think so far ahead. Stop trying to invest so much in a country that you really know so little about. You have to live here for yourself to really decide and see, do I really want to stay in Japan? You may have visited Japan for a week, you may have stayed for a month or two. Staying here in Japan for 3 months, 60 days, 30 days, 2 weeks, whatever, is not the same as living here for years. I promise you. Your glorified version of Japan is seeing Akiba and going to the red light district in Shibuya. That is not Japan. Once you actually start living and working and paying bills here, and you're here for a long time, and you start noticing the cultural differences and seeing how, you know, Japanese people really treat you, and you get over the, oh my god, he bowed, they're so polite, everything's so clean, and you realize all the bullshit that's being hidden in Japan, then you'll feel very differently about being here, and you might decide, I want to go home. You'll also get tired of dating Japanese people. It seems really fun at first and like, oh my god, senpai, and you're all inside of anime land and you think that you're dating Shomaru and you're gonna bang Ino. It's like, no, that's not what it's like here. I promise you. This is not the real Japan. I love Japan. Like, my first few months here, it was the greatest place in the world. I felt like it was in a dream. Like, I was in a dream. But that all faded away. And what you're left with is the real culture. Same thing goes for America. People come to America, they think they want to go to New York, Hollywood. I want to be a movie star, the American dream, blah, blah, blah. And then you live there for a while and you're like, wow, America kind of ratchet. Well, Japan is the same way. So, not to get off into all of that, my point is you need to have a bachelor's degree. You need to go to school. If you want to go to Japan, go to school. There's no going around it. You don't have money, save for it. Get a job, work for it, pay for your tuition out of pocket. You think you can't do it? Well, look at all the time and money that you're wasting searching online. You spent years trying to figure out how to get here, months trying to get here. The amount of time and energy that you're putting into trying to go around getting your degree, you might as well have just gone to school. You're wasting your time. And plus, your degree can be used anywhere, even if you choose not to stay in Japan. Japan does not need IT. This is fucking Japan. Everyone's an engineer. Everyone is good with technology. I'm sorry, I'm just being real. So anyway, excuse my language, you guys. All I'm saying is, I get it, you think that your skills are useful and can be used, but unless you're like a doctor or a nurse, which those people normally don't want to work here because the pay is garbage for them too. The average salary for them is generally still between $50,000 to $70,000, which sucks. They don't need you. Those are like special skilled workers, whatever. Highly skilled workers. You wouldn't fall into that category if you're watching this video, more than likely. And that's also something that you will learn eventually too. Living and working in Japan is a total catch-22. You need to have a visa in order to get the job. But how do you get a job without a visa? That's the problem. So you might be like, oh, like I can speak Japanese. I want to be an electrician. I'm a native English speaker. I'm from Canada. I'm from America, whatever. Okay. Well, what companies hire foreigners from overseas? Not many. What companies hire foreigners from overseas for electrician jobs? None. I can't name one. Of course, somebody's gonna be, oh, my cousin got this job, or I found this company. There's always an exception to every single rule. But what is the likelihood of you getting hired? How many foreigners are doing that here? Pretty much none. How many foreigners are teaching English here? Thousands of them. And they continue to come and go. And the demand for English is only increasing, it's not diminishing. There's a huge need for English teachers. Why? Because they're always quitting, they die, they get divorces, life goes on for them. They're always going to need them. Japan does not need you. They have electricians here in Japan. They have, people that can help with technology and customer service, etc. from within Japan. And when they do want to hire foreigners for these things, they only want you for your English ability. They don't care about your Japanese ability. And the ones that do care about your Japanese ability, it's only because they want to be able to have you sign contracts and basically explain rules, etc. to you. Not so much because they want you to deal with their Japanese customers, because they would obviously rather a native Japanese person handle that aspect of the job. Also, keep in mind that when they do hire foreigners for even that stuff, they're going to hire the Filipina girl that's married to the Japanese guy. They're not going to hire some random white girl from, the UK that happens to speak Japanese. I'm just being real with you. Take it however you want to, get offended. I'm being totally honest. Most of the non-teaching jobs here, they're being worked by non-native speakers. It's normally someone from South Asia who's married to a Japanese person, whether it's a legitimate or sham marriage. Normally it's a sham marriage, just being real. Or they got a job from a company that was based in their home country that has a branch in Japan. You see this a lot with Indians and people from Turkey for God knows what reason, but that's just the way that it is. There's a lot of Turkish and Indian people that are living in Japan in which they are not in a sham marriage, or at least not a sham marriage with a Japanese person. They're married to somebody from their home country who has a job or owns a company in Japan, whether it be some curry shop or, whatever type place, an import store. That's just the way that it is. So there are options for you to come here without a degree, but they're pretty much not moral. The only other option that you really have is to come here as a student. If your thing is, oh, I don't have money to go back to school, I don't have whatever. If you don't have money to go back to school, how the hell do you have money to live in Japan? Okay. You don't have money and time to go back to school? How do you have money and time to live and work in Japan? You're making up excuses. Again, the time that you're spending looking for videos, looking for information on how to go around that requirement, you could be using all of that energy, focus, and money into actually working on yourself and getting a degree. Unlike your little wish and fantasy of coming to Japan, getting a bachelor's degree or higher is never a bad idea because it can be used anywhere in the world. Your trip to Japan, your stay living here, is not anything special for your resume unless your work is in relation to Japan in your home country. There's no award for saying I went to Japan before I was 30 or before I was 20. Good fucking do for you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think that's like a poor people mentality thing. Poor people seem to like place this, like, I don't even know what to call it, on a pedestal, for lack of a better word. They feel like saying like, oh, I did this before I was 20, or I did this before I was 25, or I did this before I was 30. Like this makes you special or something. It doesn't. I came to Japan when I was 20. There's no award for it. You want to know who's like, oh, like you're so whatever. My family. Nobody fucking cares. If I leave Japan and I try to get a job in the US, they'll be like, oh, why Japan? Do you have family there? Oh, are you in the military? Of course, because I'm black, right? That's it. They don't care. There's no special award for that. I won't get paid more because I worked and lived in Japan. Only you think that. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get here. Try your best to do things the right way. Don't try to rush it. You have all the rest of your life to come to Japan. I know it doesn't seem like it, and you're like, oh, I'm just getting older. I really want to go right now. Well, you can do that, but you're probably going to end up going back home because you didn't save and do things properly. But again, also keep in mind that you can only stay here for so long because you're going to run out of options. Your options are going to be narrowed down to either going back to school or getting that sham marriage, which I don't recommend. But I'm just saying, realistically, those are your options. They don't need people without degrees. There's lots of bums. Excuse me, I'm just being real. Alright, let me stop because I'm going to hurt y'all feelings. I'm not saying that because you have a degree, you're better than everyone, that you're not a bum, or you're not a loser, you're not whatever. But the reality is, for most of the people that want to come to Japan that don't have degrees, it kind of shows. That's all I'm going to say. So again, yes, in my opinion, most of the people teaching in Japan do not have a degree at all. They are here on spouse visas. But I will also tell you that those people are also working the crappiest jobs here as teachers. All teaching jobs are not created equal. An ALT is not the same as an international school teacher, and working at any old dinky international school is not the same as working at an uppity one. If your interview was a very quick, fast, short one, you're hired type thing, you're probably working at a shit job. If your job offers a very high salary and you had a very long, tedious interview that required you to go back and forth and do demo lessons and send references and do this, that, and the other, you're probably getting paid really well. You probably have great benefits and you're probably working for a great company. Here's the difference. I didn't learn this stuff until not that long ago, but there is. They're not all the same. Trust and believe. So don't think, oh, well, my friend, they're doing whatever, or they have a job. Yeah, and they're probably getting paid half of what I am working in a really shitty environment. All of these jobs here are not good. All of these places here do not pay the same. All of these positions are not the same. Sure, we're all teachers, but we're all doing different stuff. A really big example of that is you'll find that a lot of these teachers, which is why people prefer those with degrees in relevant things like education, English, etc., they don't know what they're doing without having a step-by-step guide on how to teach. They're not creative. They don't know how to run their own lessons. They don't know how to plan their own lessons. They don't know how to do shit unless their employer tells them exactly what to do, shows them exactly how it's done. And that's cool. I'm just saying that this is what I mean. There's a difference. You most certainly can have a degree. You most certainly can have experience and still be a garbage teacher. Doesn't mean that you're perfect. I learn stuff all the time from people that don't have a degree. And I'm like, wow. And I went to school for this. I never thought to do things this way. I'm always learning. And I don't have so much pride where I'm like, oh, I have a degree in education. I'm better than you type thing. Absolutely not. But I will say once again, normally in most circumstances you can tell that someone is not really experienced teaching and that it's not really their strong point. The reality is most people are just coming here to teach because it's the easiest way to get into Japan, which is also why a lot of people that realize teaching ain't for me, I don't like kids, I'm not good at English, it's not my strong point, you're looking to do other work in Japan. But the reality is there isn't other work for you to do. There isn't. Does it exist? Yes, but there's not a lot of jobs available for foreigners, because generally any job that is available for a foreigner is a job that's so dirty that a Japanese person doesn't want to do because the work is too hard, the job is too dirty, and or the pay is too low. But they know that they can get a foreigner to do it because you're so desperate to live in Japan. You're so desperate to work in Japan, especially if you're not a native English speaker, because your job options are already extremely limited. And the reality is those that do not speak English as a first language generally speak Japanese pretty well in comparison to those of us that are native speakers like myself. They oftentimes come here already being fluent in Japanese or already having a very good understanding of it. Thus, these jobs are better for them because most people aren't going to hire them as English teachers. But they're also extremely competitive, and once again, the work is generally dirty. You're not going to work for a good company. It'll be some little dinky slave office job, aka black companies as they call them. So again, pick your poison, do what you want, get angry. What I have to say is facts. You want to come to Japan, you got to go to college, you got to graduate, you got to get a degree. You don't want to wait that long, then consider coming to Japan for college. But you can't come here any other way. You have to wake up, smell the coffee, get real with yourself. Again, if there was some magical way to make it in Japan, to work here without having a degree, do you not think there would already be 100 videos on this topic, a million blog posts, and there'd be millions and millions of foreigners living here? There most certainly would be. But that's not the way that it works. It's not that easy. And again, while people keep trying to stress, oh, the degree isn't, the job requirement is just immigration, that's kind of a lie. You'll almost never see an ad where they say, oh, you don't need a degree as long as you have a visa. No, they almost always want you to both have a degree and to have a visa. It satisfies not only, immigration's requirement, but it makes the school more trusting towards you. You seem more professional. The parents seem, they're more trusting towards you. And especially if you're trying to work in a company. You think that Japanese employers for these IT jobs or, electrician type stuff or whatever, they don't want someone that's quote unquote smart. And I hate to put it this way because, again, having a degree doesn't mean that you're smart or good at anything. I don't need to hear you all's BS on that. But it most certainly does kind of give the appearance that you do. Would you rather trust somebody that has a degree or someone without a degree that didn't go to school for this, that wasn't able to stick through with something for 4 years? More than likely, you're going to feel more trusting towards that guy with the 4-year degree who's allegedly the professional. Okay, Japan is the same way, especially when dealing with a foreigner. Why do I want a foreigner dealing with something dangerous, electrical, in another language? And you're going to have to work with Japanese people. This isn't some type of, lunchroom cleaning job, you guys. This isn't a janitor position. And even jobs like that, those don't sponsor visas 90% of the time. And I hate to put this out there, but I'm just being real. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. The people working these quote-unquote dirty jobs are generally people from the Philippines and or Brazil for some odd reason that are being kind of abused and taken advantage of. You'll find that most of the maid jobs, they're literally ads for jobs for janitorial services where they specifically request a Filipina girl. Like, not even in a pervy way, but because they know that they can pay them very little and because they know that there's lots of them here that are looking for work. I'm not going to go there with you guys. I know I just stepped on a lot of toes. I sound racist. I'm being honest with you. Just being real. So, I'm not going to get into all of that. My point was, you have to have a bachelor's degree. You cannot go around it. The only other option that you have is to have a spouse visa and or to get a student visa. One costs money, one doesn't. One is morally correct, one is morally wrong. You pick your poison, and even getting a spouse visa isn't entirely easy either. You have to actually find someone willing to marry your ugly ass too. So, that's that. I'm done. I'm not going to go there with you guys. All I'm saying is, If you really want to come to Japan, you'll put in the work to get here, and that does mean going back to school or starting school if you haven't gone to begin with. It'll be great for you regardless of whether you choose to stay here in Japan or not. It's honestly a win-win situation, and I highly recommend that you do choose to go back to school and come to Japan to earn your degree, or at least do a study abroad. You might decide that you don't really like it here, despite the fact that you thought you were going to. Do also keep in mind that especially if you happen to be a black person and you're not really attractive and or you have dark skin, being honest with you guys, you will most certainly probably really not like Japan in comparison to someone else. Do not let my opinion of Japan or other people's change yours. You have to come in for yourself. Your experience is not going to be the same as mine. Your looks do matter here. Your age does matter here. Your height does matter, and so does your skin complexion. Nobody wants to say that. Your country of origin does matter. Being black is not enough. If you're from some island country, you're from Africa, you are not going to be treated the same way as an American. You will not have the same job options as an American. It's the truth. So I'm not going to go there with you guys. You can watch my other videos, read my other blog posts. I've already answered pretty much any question you probably have for me. But otherwise, feel free to send me an email, leave a comment down below if you have more questions in regards to this. I'm sorry, I just had to be real with you guys, give you guys some tough love. But the reality is, you want to come to Japan, you have to work for it. There's no easy way to get here. So that is that. I hope you found this video helpful. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and leave a comment down below. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also have an Instagram, a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and a Snapchat as well. The links for everything are down in the description box as well as at the end of this video. As always, once again, if you have any questions for me about anything in relation to Japan, feel free to send me an email. Please only email me. I don't like having 70,000 messages on other apps. It's kind of annoying. But when you're finna go there, I'm appreciative of you anyway. Or of course, you can also leave a comment down below. I also accept video ideas as well. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.